the weather we're talking about. I had the heat on, Andy, on yesterday morning. Literally, first time this year. I had the window open, fan on high all night. Man, woke up, I was like, it is freaking cold. Dogs are like, what the hell, dude? So, you weren't around Friday. I had a visit from our neighbor podcasters, the Weekly Bust. I was on their Instagram account. I will try to get it up. I thought Instagram was like, if a lady married somebody with, kids, grandkids, she becomes instantly, an Instagram. But we're going to be co-opting with the Weekly Bust here in a week or two. So I will let you know the details and where and when I'm going to be on their podcast, and we will rock and roll there. So, case you've been keeping score, the border crisis again is in the news. It's exploded. It's just everywhere. Case you didn't know, the border crisis started in earnest in 2014 under Barack Obama's watch, and has escalated into an invasion present day. As of August of 2022, at the end of August, so that was like 3 weeks ago, we've had 1.6 million people cross the border. Last month alone, 180,000 people. It's crazy down there. It's South America's just crumbling. You got poor governments, communist governments, socialist governments, no democracies whatsoever in South America, and their economies are crushing. They're tearing down the rainforest. Their agriculture is on the ropes, so they're all coming to America. We used to welcome Andy? The tired, the poor, they're hungry. My great-great-grandparents came over through Ellis Island. So, I'm familiar with immigration. I hear people go, the drug cartels, it's the border, the drug cartels. First of all, I've covered this before, I'll cover it briefly again. I'm a product of the 60s and 70s. I grew up with the Mandela cartel, the movie Blow, all of that, okay? El Chapo. All of these people use planes, tunnels. They don't strap drugs onto immigrants and have them and trust those immigrants to go over the border so that they can hook up. That sounds like a lot of steps to me. Okay? And when Pablo Escobar was running drugs through the 80s and late 70s, he used planes, trains, and automobiles. Not to rip off Steve Martin and John Candy. What a good movie, Andy, isn't that? A Thanksgiving classic. Planes, trains, and automobiles. But that's not how the cartels work. So for people to say, the drug abuse problem, we have a fentanyl crisis, the immigrants are bringing them across the border, that's just poppycock and that's just ignorant. And ignorant means you just don't know. You're uninformed. Let me inform you. Again, the cartels do not strap mule drugs and send immigrants, okay, we'll meet you at a fucking 100-mile. No. Tunnels. It's not the same Tijuana that I remember in the late 70s. When we were going to Tijuana in the late 70s, it was party town. I'm sure it is party town still, but I'm sure it's different. You know, it just wasn't. It wasn't as big. It wasn't as commercial. You know, it just wasn't. So the border crisis is just, they're flooding the border. We don't know what to do. We've had, like I said, they started taking data, and it started to become a problem in 2014. Okay? So we've had 8 years, 2 years of Biden, 2 years of Obama, 4 years of Trump to clean it up. Hasn't been cleaned up. Hasn't been cleaned. It's been progressively worse since 2014. No blips. Oh, it was better too. No. Progressively worse. I don't want to hear anybody arguing, oh, it got, when Trump was in there, it was one. No. It's been an escalating problem since 2014. No blips on the radar. No good job. No attaboys. Everybody's worried about, if we bring all these immigrants into the country, America will become like Mexico, Venezuela, Bolivia, Colombia, San Salvador. You get the drift. We'll become like those countries. We don't want them here. We got to get rid of them. We got to bust them out of here. Y'all like wine? Wine with your dinner? Caesar salad with your brunch? If you don't want the migrant workers, then you better be prepared to go pick your own Caesar salad for brunch for minimum wage. Actually, for less than minimum wage. Okay? And if you're worried about America turning into some third world country because we have all these immigrants and migrants, sounds a little prejudiced, that whole statement to me. My grandma retired. We're from Detroit. My grandmother retired. She retired at Quarter Horse Ranch in Yarnell Hill, Arizona. Yarnell Hill is north of Phoenix, north of Wickenburg, and south of Flagstaff. South of Flagstaff, pretty close to Prescott, too, if I remember right. So, I don't know how far it was from Winslow, Andy, when we were standing on the corner in Winslow, Arizona, but it's close there, too. It was in Arizona. Okay, my grandma's retired. I'm young. I'm junior high school, going down to grandma's. Okay? If you are thinking that America is going to turn into Mexico, you haven't been down south. Okay, you haven't been to Santa Fe. You haven't been to Tucson. You haven't, because it already is. It was that way when I was a kid in the 70s. It was already like Mexican food. You're not going to find it in all the Mexican restaurants in Great Falls. You're going to find them in South. So, it's already like that. It's already like that down there. So what are you going to do? Well, the governors from Florida, which would be DeSantis, and our good buddy here at the Pipewrench podcast, Greg Abbott, telling everybody what they can do, telling women what they can do with their body, old white men Greg Abbott and his cohort Costello, DeSantis, have decided that to alleviate the border crisis, they're just going to pack buses full of people and send them everywhere. And they've been sending them to Martha's Vineyards, the one just down by the White House, Chicago, New York. Now, busing people against their will or under false pretenses. Don't be telling people that you got them a fucking job, put them on a bus and send them to Chicago. Abbott, you're lying, okay? I've always had a problem, and maybe that's because I'm from a different generation. I've talked about it. My mom and dad were World War II vets. So when I hear people talking about busing people around, I always have a problem with that. I don't like the whole theory of busing people against their will somewhere. And that's what they're doing. DeSantis and Abbott have decided that it's a solution to the immigration problem is to separate families from the border, take them in, lie to them that there's a job and a housing, and then send them somewhere else in the United States. Now, this is not a good deal, okay? First of all, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's human trafficking. No, it's not human trafficking. Okay? Human trafficking is a whole different type of thing. Okay? So don't try to confuse those and say it's human trafficking. They're not being sold into slavery. They're not human traffickers. They're not, you know what I'm trying to say. It's not human trafficking. But it's not a helpful or a logical solution to lie to these people and just send them to Chicago, or I don't know if anybody got to Great Falls yet. Don't think you're immune, Great Falls. If the Republicans in Great Falls think it's a good idea that DeSantis and Abbott are moving these people from the border to New York and to Martha's Vineyard and to Chicago, then don't be surprised and don't bitch if they start moving them here to Great Falls. Because, hey, you're all for it. I'm not for it. Most people aren't for it. But a lot of the Republican Party are for it. And it's not a fiscal way for the governors of those states to be spending taxpayer dollars. And guess what? The taxpayers are spending it. And it's like, well, we'll send them up to Chicago or New York, and they'll have to fend for themselves. The logical solution, DeSantis and Abbott, would have been to contact, where's my phone, Andy? Contact those people and say, hey, we're going to send some people your way. Let's get them going. I have a problem with it. It's not a good solution. It's grandstanding. It's like, ooh, I'll show you. I'll just take some human beings, separate them from their families, and ship them off on a bus. I remember when we had the homeless problem here down at the church here in Great Falls. That was their solution. One of them, big one, most of them, a lot of them, some of them. I saw it a lot. Let's bus them to Missoula. Bus them to Bozeman. It's like what? Because they're nicer cities than we got? Busing people. Is it a violation of human and civil rights? Now, remember, defeat people, you got to remember that once a person steps on American soil, they're bound by American laws. And if you say it doesn't work like that, look at old Miss Griner down there in Russia. Yes, it does. The minute you walk into the United States, you're bound by the United States human rights, civil rights, and criminal law, period. All amendments required. So, it's a violation of human and civil rights and maybe illegal. Now, Andy, stop. Everybody stop. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, so I think I kind of know what I'm talking about the law now, okay? It is, if those people are covered by the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, it is a process, it's a violation of due process, it's a lawful imprisonment, it's the 4th, 5th, 14th Amendment that they're violating by you just don't pack up a bunch of people on the bus and start shipping them all over the country. It's not a solution. I know there's a crisis down there, but Abbott and DeSantis are grandstanding. And if you think what they're doing is okay, wait till the first busload of immigrants hits your town, and then you can PM me on Messenger and tell me how great you think that whole policy is. I just don't like it, Andy. I never have liked it. Busing people sounds so Nazi Germanist. And maybe that's because I was raised when, that we still learned about World War II in school. And it was still a big deal that, that we went to war for... They don't understand. Huh? I did watch it last night. Before we go there, Annie, just again, quit busing people, quit violating their rights, quit thinking it's okay, come out with a better solution. And of course the solution is slowing down the traffic in the border. Okay? For those of you that are blaming Joe Biden for the border crisis, Donald Trump had 4 years and did nothing with it. Oh, Barack Obama had a whole second term, and he didn't do anything with it. So let's put the blame where it goes. It's been a long time brewing. We've been ignoring it like forever, and now we're bursting at the seams. You just don't bust people, though, Andy. I'm sorry. So, I did watch. Okay, did you watch 60 Minutes last night? Joe Biden was on 60 Minutes. Now, there's a prelude to this 60 Minutes interview a little bit. Russia is not doing good presently in the war in Ukraine. They're losing territory. They're suffering desertion. Officers being killed in battle. They are losing territory. They're losing ground and gained. They can't get people to join the army. Putin's supporters are mysteriously falling off of buildings. There was an assassination last week, if you didn't watch the news, where a rocket just narrowly missed Putin's vehicle. He looks horrible. And he has come out and reiterated that if things don't change, and if we don't quit losing territory, we're going to use nukes, because that's one of the things we said was if we felt our territory was threatened, we're going to use nukes. And so Ukraine taking back their own territory threatens Putin. So he's saber-rattling in earnest, and everybody else is. And I know, we've heard about him. But last night on 60 Minutes, we got to watch the interview of Joe Biden. The interview was typical Joe. A little bit of here, a little bit of that. What got me was, what I want to touch on is the response to Russia, because that's what we're talking about. We're not going to talk about the whole interview. That would probably take us a while. But I want to talk about his response. And his response was that don't do it. We will retaliate. I think we're getting closer. It's scary now, but Putin thinks that his territory that he took from Ukraine is now Russian territory, and that it justifies. Nothing would surprise me over there. hug your dogs because the shit's still hitting the fan. It's a quiet story. We've got Mar-a-Lago, we've got busing issues, we've got Biden with this and the Green Deal, and there's all sorts of abortion and trans rights. We got all sorts of stuff that's keeping us from seeing what's going on over in Ukraine. It's not a good situation, and Biden put his foot down. And Biden, I don't think that he's, maybe he is Grandpa Joe, but I think he's Grandpa Joe enough to push that damn button. So now that concerns me. It's a have to kind of a situation. So have to, and Andy, if you, so keep an eye on Putin and all of his people that are falling off of buildings, suicide. He's lost like 12 aides or advisors or business people. 12 of them in the last 6 months have been mysteriously fallen off a building, hit by a car, fell down some stairs. Woofty! Oh, what else, man? Oh, shit. I got some friends online. I posted yesterday, I posted again today on the Monkey Business Media site. There are some storms. They are kicking freaking ass in Alaska. You look at the map, it's just like this big freaking whirlpool, nuclear-looking thing going on. Jeff Baker is a friend of mine. We met through Camelot. Jeff Baker, please text me and let me know that you're okay. Or at least get me on Facebook or something. It's a friend of mine in Alaska. They got 10-foot tidal waves. They got 10-foot tidal waves. They're coming. Oh, my God, look out. Yeah, 10-foot tidal waves. For sure, Snoop. We got 10-foot tidal waves. So, Jeff, be careful up there. What else we got? Oh, bye, Queen. I'm Irish. Queen's no big deal. Glad. Not glad, but I said at the beginning, Andy, we're going to be on the weekly bust. We don't know. They're on YouTube. It's called the Weekly Bust. It's Tyler Bates and Levi DeSales. I saw Tyler's Instagram. They do podcasting. They do, the MMA world, the fight world, and I do, what I do. And speaking of sports, they do sports, I do sports. Michigan won big this weekend. Big. What is it? 59-0. Grizzlies also rolled. Montana State, not so lucky. They were in Mark West. Were they in Eugene or Corvallis in Oregon State? I think they were. They lost. They lost bigger than I thought they would. Appalachian State. Did you see that, Andy? No time on the clock. They're down by 3 or 4. It's a Hail Mary. Oh, my God. Appalachian State. Boom, boom, boom. Balls. Touchdown, Appalachian State. Michigan fans hate Appalachian State. Texas A&M fans hate Appalachian State. We're done. We're going to wind up. Didn't they treat Harry and is it Megan? Treated whatever. If you haven't watched 60 Minutes, it's probably on YouTube by now. We good. Things are going. Everybody, you got to watch out this week. Remember, everybody got to spay and neuter. Everybody's calling me and asking me what they could do about dogs. It's amazing, Andy. What can we do to help you? First of all, don't surrender your fucking dog to the animal shelter. Okay? That's the first thing you can do to help me. Okay? Second thing, don't drop them off in a field. Don't do anything. You got them. They're part of the family. Deal with it. You don't drop your grandma off, do you? Maybe they do. Maybe people that abandon dogs abandon their grandma in an old folks home. Yeah, fuck grandma. Adopt. Don't shop. Rescue when you can. Spay and neuter. Empty the shelters, everybody. Andy, we're good? We are good. Thanks for everybody for coming on this morning, hanging out with me, talking about the border and the immigrant, just talking about it. And watch the 60 Minutes. Duck and cover. Kiss your dogs. Until next Monday. Andy, we're out of here? We're out of here.